Hello, everyone, and welcome back to our 9-month Ultimate World Cruise adventure. Well, today we're on the southernmost island of South Korea, Jeju-do, where we climb a volcano and have some amazing local cuisine.
Welcome to Living Phase 2.
Hi, I'm Mike.
And I'm Nancy, and we're empty nesters striving to live life to the fullest.
And we're living that full life aboard Royal Caribbean's 9-month Ultimate World Cruise on Serenade of the Seas.
Well, we sure are. Well, friends, this is our second stop in South Korea, Jeju Island. And it's the southernmost populated island. So it's not the southernmost, but it's most populated island down there.
In fact, they told us a legend that when the people of Jeju-do, when they pass away and they go to paradise, they actually go to the next island. You know?
The island Jeju-do, which is not the southernmost. We have another smaller island south of the Jeju-do, which is located between Korea and Taiwan. So the Jeju Islander, they believe when they die, they go to the island, which is a paradise.
We got on a bus that took us to Sunrise Peak, where we climbed a volcano. So the volcano, lots of steps. Okay, friends, let me just put it out. Lots and lots of stairs. This was a strenuous climb. It really was. But at the peak, they call it 99 stones or sharp. It's crown is what they call it, because all the sharp stones around the caldera of the volcano resemble a crown, and so that was.
Yeah,
that was a strenuous walk.
Yeah, but the view was worth it.
It was
really gorgeous up there.
It really was very pretty.
And this is one of the disadvantages too, that we got on a bus that was taking us to a couple different places. Well, we only had so much time, so we get to Sunrise Peak, and our bus driver's like, okay, you got 50 minutes. And I'm looking up at this peak.
50 minutes.
I'm like, we got to get up there and back down here in 50 minutes. It's like, okay, so we were running to get up there, and we really kind of got nervous. We didn't know how much time.
Well, and then we don't appreciate it as much as we would have normally.
Right. So this is really another one of those cases that, if you can plan your own adventure, hopefully using some of the tips and places we're talking about, South Korea is very safe. I mean, you could have got a taxi, got a driver for the day. They would have taken you out here. It really helps a lot to not be quite so rushed.
Right.
Because this was, you're climbing up a mountain and you only have 50 minutes to do it. So, but we did enjoy it. I mean, it was a beautiful view. And at the base of the mountain.
Yeah, this was very interesting. So at the base of the mountain where it goes into the ocean, there's these women divers. And it's their own little community. These women divers, they're about age 46 to, I want to say, about 92. They're in this community. They dive down for oysters, and unfortunately they weren't diving until later in the day, but they were out selling some of the oysters that they collected. They can hold their breath up to 3 minutes.
And some of the other ones even longer. It's incredible.
It's crazy, yeah.
But the real shame is, so they have this community, and the women divers of Jeju Island are very famous, their community. They're actually considered a World Heritage group, but the problem is the younger South Korean women are not joining this community. It's really kind of almost a commune. Once you join this community, they take care of their own. They share everything. They train them. But as we said, the youngest now is in her 40s, and they don't have younger divers coming up. So they're really kind of an endangered species, the divers of Jeju-do. So, we hope that can continue. We hope that culturally can continue, because it's quite an amazing thing.
Yes. I wish we could have seen them.
Yeah, well, we did see them selling their wares, but not diving. It's if you get a chance to go to the shoreline, they do dive at several different places around the island. It's certainly worth seeing this, and it is a vanishing art that's going away, which is kind of sad. So we did see that. We saw the shoreline and Sunrise Peak. It was quite beautiful, but then we got in our bus and headed to
Seongeup Folk Village, and I probably have totally mispronounced that, but that's the best I can do.
Yeah.
Seongeup.
Yeah.
And so that was interesting to see. It was a 19th century village to see how people used to live. Now, part of this village is still inhabited. Some of it that they have just kept maintained and the buildings are uninhabited. But there are still buildings there where people live, and you can see they've been modernized a little bit. Some will have air conditioners. You can see on the back porch, or they're hanging their wash out to dry, and so that. But that was a beautiful, it was a beautiful village
to see the thatched roofs and how they used to live, and they've got kind of signage you can go around and see. It talks about how people used to live and what they did. Yeah,
and there's a school there that's
a Confucian school.
Confucian school to teach Confucius.
Yeah, well,
like,
it's there now just to see. It's not an active school at this time, but again, it's part of the folk village.
But what they used to teach.
Yes, and there is a shrine actually there for the people that are still living in the village. It's an active shrine.
Yeah, and the other, it's kind of a juxtaposition because we're seeing these very, very old buildings, and then we're seeing cars drive on the streets too. So a lot of quite the dichotomy there.
Yeah. But they were working together at one point to actually repair one of the walls outside, and that's again an art and a skill how they lay these stones in place and interlock them. That was neat to see.
And the cherry blossoms were still in bloom, which was just beautiful there as well.
Yeah. No, it was really gorgeous. So I enjoyed that stop. It was again, if you've been to places like in Mackinac Island, we've been to folk villages in Norway, and back east in the northeast United States, they have folk villages where you can see how people used to live. That's kind of what this was like. But it's really large. You can spend several hours wandering and walking through the village.
A couple of hours, yeah. So the next place we went to was the Dongmun traditional market, and we got to taste a lot of different food here. So this was fun. I'll probably have to look at my notes here to pronounce tabaki was the first thing we had, and that was a soup. It was a tomato-based soup with noodles and I'm trying to think of all the things that it had. Kimchi, and it was spicy and
well, the noodles are actually, they call it a rice cake, but they're in the shape of like an extruded rice noodle.
Yes.
And that was really good. And you can find the tabaki all over the place. You'll see big pots of it boiling, outside of these different places. And so we did pick a very, very local restaurant to go into, and we got a bowl of tabaki, and then we also got 2 or 3 side dishes with it. One was a fish cake, which is very interesting. You'll see those all over the place.
It's a pressed fish that's kind of, they take a skewer, a bamboo skewer, and they just kind of weave the fish up and down. That's just okay.
Yeah, it was served in a broth,
right?
And I would agree. I mean, it was a little plain, a little fishy, but that was a take it or leave it for me. And then we had a fried dumpling, and that was really good. That was really good.
And the third one was called Sunday, and I don't know if this will show in the video, but Mike's asking me, what is it? And I said, I don't know. I don't know. It could be pressed worms for all I know.
But we actually, because we didn't know, we went to one of the Korean crew members here back on the ship, and she was just so wonderful. We talked to her about all the foods we ate, and
showed her pictures, and said, what is this?
And she goes, oh, that's sundae, and she said, you had this, and the outside is a rice noodle. It's glass noodles, and then it's soaked in like a soy sauce. That's what makes it black, and then the inside was carrots, right? Again, it was okay. It was kind of just a little plain. It was, again, a rice noodle. My favorite, though, was the tabaki. That was really good. It was a little spicy for you.
The soup, it was.
But it had great flavor, and it had fish in it. It had the rice. So if you get a chance in South Korea, try the tabaki. But then we also tried hoduk. So we mentioned, if you remember in our last video, we were just raving over the hoduk in Busan. This one was a little different.
It was cooked a little bit different. It was still a fried pancake, but before they fried, they put all of the filling in before they fried it this time, whereas in the previous video they put it in after, and so it was all sealed up, and we weren't real sure. We were trying to describe to them, we were wanting a sweet hoduk that has the honey and brown sugar and nuts and seeds in it, and he's like, oh, this is this is
Yeah.
what it is, but you couldn't see it because it was all encased and fried. It wasn't quite as good, but it was still very
good.
flavorful.
Yep. And then Jeju-do is very famous for their black pork. Now, to be clear, the pork, the meat is not black. The pigs have a black skin on them. So they're a small, what we'd call in the U.S. a heritage breed. That means it's, not one of these big commercial breeds, and it's known as being very flavorful, having lots of juiciness to the pork. So we tried a black pork roll, and you can see that here.
정말 맛은 제 생각 주먹밥 탁하게 앞으로 좀 빠르게 넣어드리고 있습니다.
And that was really neat to see him cooking it that way with the flames and all the stuff. And what it had the pork meat wrapped around a cabbage center, kind of almost a kimchi or cabbage center. And then they put all kinds of spices and sauces on top.
You said normal spice. For you.
Yeah, and it was a little too spicy
hot.
for you.
It was ridiculously hot.
No, I thought it was really good. The black pork was excellent, and that was something you really want to try if you're here on Jeju Island. Don't miss getting something black pork, and they just have black pork skewers if you want to try that. This was a little more adventurous and fancy, I guess, the black pork roll. And of course, we had to try the Korean corn dog again.
Right, which we had that yesterday, which we thought was the best hot dog that we've had on the World Cruise. This one wasn't quite as good. But, well, first off, the hot dog in and of itself wasn't quite as good.
No.
But we tried it the way they traditionally will make it, and they add sugar to the outside of the outside of the corn dog. Yeah, so we put a little bit of sugar on the end to try it that way, but just the hot dog in and of itself wasn't as good this time.
It just wasn't quite as good. But, I mean, it was still, the breading and everything was pretty good. But, yeah, man, that first one that we had in Busan was excellent. Absolutely excellent. So, there was our eating adventure. But in the market, the thing that Jeju-do is very famous for is tangerines.
Now, all their tangerine trees, and so tangerines are everywhere. So lots and lots of tangerines for sale, but not only that, they will put tangerines on t-shirts, tangerine hats, tangerine notebooks. I got little tangerine earrings. Those were really cute. So I have found that earrings are an inexpensive and yet very small little souvenir to bring back on the ship. They don't take up any room in our cabin. So that was fun.
Yeah.
But
I did find the
tangerines
tangerines. You can't bring fresh fruit back on the cruise ship. So they did have it where they would have the tangerines on a skewer, and you could eat the segments on a skewer. So that was pretty good. But really, I found the tangerines, I mean, I'm sure they're great, but they were a bit pricey for a box of tangerines.
They were a little on the expensive side compared to what we're used to back home.
Yeah, but they're supposed to be the best in the world. So take a look at tangerines if you're in Jeju Island. Yeah. That was a really good too. Well, then we wrapped up there at the market. We had our fill of local food, and that was our lunch. And we started to head back to the ship. And we noticed as we're heading back to the ship that they have this beautiful colored boardwalk and walkway along their river walk. And at 8 o'clock at night, they have a musical fountain show. So unfortunately, we're not going to be here that late.
We have to get back on board.
Yeah, but there's something to take a look at if you're here at Jeju Island at 8 o'clock along their river walk. And the other thing was the Marine Esprit de Corps monument here for the battles and for the sacrifices of the Marine Corps here in Korea and on Jeju-do. So they have a beautiful monument there for the Marine Corps. But yeah, then we headed back to the ship.
Yeah, we really didn't want much to eat at this point.
No,
so
not
we weren't
after
going
that.
to the main dining room. No. I think we had a little light snack in the Windjammer later at night, but then we just called it a day because tomorrow we head to
Seoul, South Korea, where we visit the demilitarized zone between North and South Korea, a place that very few people get to visit. You'll get to see it tomorrow.
Yeah, and you won't want to miss it. So friends, be sure to like, subscribe, turn on those notifications, and if you have an opportunity, we'd even love it if you would share our videos with your friends who may be interested in going to some of these places.
Right, and leave us a comment. We'd love to hear from everybody.
All right, have a beautiful day. Take care. Bye-bye,
Bye-bye
friends.
now.